Welcome along, and we continue the army analysis series by looking at the Ghurid 1100 AD list with Indian Hindu North 1050 allies. This army has been requested by Devon Kopp, one of my most ardent supporters and followers. He mentioned it in one of the comments to the videos, and he said have a look at this army. So it's interesting really, because I realized that I've been selecting armies that I quite like, so I realized my marks have been quite high generally, and it was in my mind to maybe just look at what I would class more average armies, or armies I might not play with, and it just makes it a bit more interesting, because then you start to sort of see what kind of units you like and why. And so I'm really pleased that he suggested that I have a look at this army, and we'll go through it. And you know, you might disagree with me or you might agree with me. Let's see what we think. So as I always say, this is 1200 points. This is what we use in the league in high Middle Ages, so I'm using 1200 points for this section. For my videos for classical, it's 1600 points we use in the league, so for those videos the armies are larger. Now starting with the infantry, we've got the spearmen, Muslim spearmen, which are defensive spearmen, average protected. They're the standard units of the game. They're in every army almost. Pretty decent for the price, 36, cheap, sturdy. They often hold against better infantry. So, you know, and you've got quite a lot, that is quite nice for this army, because with other armies they're relying more on irregular foot and also raw spear. There's quite a few units. So we have 9 spearmen, so that's pretty good. The problem, I think, is you've just got nothing. That's the best. So, you know, in the series so far, when we've been looking at the armies of High Middle Ages, you know, there's armies with dismounted knights. Germans have the later ones. The Norman lists, papal lists, they have the earlier dismounted knights, 69. We looked at some of the Muslim armies, Arab armies, I think the Bedou, and armies like that. Berber, they've got the veteran Muslim spear, which are excellent units. One of the armies I've just covered, the Dailami, they've got the veteran Dailami impact foot, which are great infantry units. So all of these kind of armies, even Crusaders, even most of your standard European armies, they've got armored defensive spear and sometimes armored offensive spear. So you've got some, you know, fairly decent infantry. This is the best we have, just the defensive spear. So it's going to be difficult to attack, because if you charge, you lose your POA advantage, because these are all defensive spearmen. So that's a little bit limiting. And armies, almost every single army. I mean, you know, those Crusader armies that I looked at, the Byzantine army that I looked at, they had, in most of my setups, I was bringing 1 guard unit. You know, the 87 Varangian Guard. I mean, you know, far better than your average spearman. So that's not great. You've also got, you know, I did I did a top 10 video on my favorite units in the game in medieval, and I also did the worst, and I forgot about these close fighters. Now you can disagree with me if you want. Post your comments below. These units have got to be up there with the worst units in the game. I mean, I just don't know what they do for the price. I mean, they're 36, same price as Spearmen, heavy foot. They're medium foot and they're not impact. So, you know, with the Dilami, at least those Dilami, your standard Dilami infantry, they're impact. You know, you've got a plus 100 POA advantage on impact. They're just awful, really. Really. I mean, you know, even a regular foot is only 30. So what are we paying? Average protected, average lightly protected. They're just a waste of money for me. But I've taken them because just to bulk up my infantry a little bit. But in my experience, they don't last long because they're only medium foot. They've got no advantages, no impact, no armor. Yeah, so not great. Not great. And then also I've got you know, I like flexibility, and in this list there's quite a lot of preset units. Okay, it doesn't matter so much about Spearmen because I wanted to max that anyway, but I have to take 3 irregular foot. You know, probably I'd probably just take 2, and I'd use the 30 on something else. You know, I'd get rid of one of these units, and that would be, I'd have 66. I'd probably take, if I could, I'd take an elephant, you know, or the Gilman units, one of those. I mean, so that's another negative. I have to take 3 irregular foot. Okay, I have an elephant. That's pretty good. A bit of a mishmash of cavalry, really. Yes, you've got a fair bit of a selection. You do have some lancers. I think this is what Devon Cott was saying in his comments. There's a selection of lancers, but you don't have the cheap ones. You know, the really cheap ones at like 28. I mean, they're a great bargain. Yes, you have Indian lancers, protected lancers at 34. That's a great buy. That is a great buy, but there's only 2 of them, and then it sort of jumps up, and then you're paying 50 for superior some armored lancers, and they're not such a great buy. I mean, really, Muslim lancers at 36, I think, around that, maybe a bit more. Byzantine, the early Byzantine lancers are about 41. They're, you know, they're better value for money. So this is a bit of a jump to 50. If I'm starting to pay 50 something for cav, then, you know, I'd probably rather just spend it on maybe superior quality armored horse archers. But anyway, they're in my list at the moment. Yes, you've got 3 of these armored, superior quality armored horse archers. That's pretty good. But then you're kind of limited in the units that I like. This kind of army, I want to take my light horse archers, and we've only got a max of 2, which is pretty terrible. And even the, you know, the one step up to the Turkoman light horse, maxed at 5. Okay, that's a great buy, and I'd take out a couple of these units, and I'd add maybe some more. These are good, and you can take up to 9, so that's pretty good. But I'd like some more light horse archers. You've got 2. I always generally try to take the cheaper end skirmishers. So we've got 2 of the 24 pointers. That's not bad. I've taken a javelin horse. I might change that around. But as I've only got 2, they're not bad. They can chase away enemy skirmishers. So maybe I'd keep them. You have got access to quite a lot of the massed archers. And so one thing I was doing, if you wanted to change this up, you could maybe take out a javelin horse, take out one of these awful Indian close fighters. Bye-bye to them. The Muslim spear, cav. I'd rather have lancers, really. I know we've got 2 there. So, okay. They're fair price, but let's just get rid of them for now. They give us 128. And we can take out 2 of the massed Muslim archers. And we've got 56, so we can take one of these armoured superior quality horse archers. We can take another one out. So, that works out perfect. So that's not too bad. If you wanted more archers, it's possible. But overall, there are no knights. We haven't got a lot of the cheap light horse archers. We haven't got any of the really cheap light lancers. We haven't got any better than spearmen infantry. I have to take out 3 irregular foot. Close fighters are awful. It's just quite a lot of negatives. Now, this is just me. Maybe it's the way I play, my play style. I'm looking for certain things and I'm not getting them in this kind of army. But there's just a lot of negatives here. And there's not a lot of options. Infantry, not much I can do, really. I've maxed my spearmen. I don't really like or rate the close fighters, and I don't really want to add any more irregular foot. Although, if it was a really hilly map full of rough ground and woods and stuff, okay, there's not many armies where you can take up to 9 irregular foot. That could be a plus, but that is very dependent on the map. It would be nice to have the higher end lancers. Lancers with bow. Don't have that in this list. We've just got these superior some armor lancers, and then we go to the high quality armored horse archers. I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed. There's just better armies out there. Better armies out there. I've got about 14 infantry. What was my total? In my original setup, I had about 14 cav. But in other armies, I managed to take out 2 elephants, and I had about 19 cav. I think in my last, Ghaznavid build, I had 19 cav, and I had 2 elephants, and I had 10 infantry. But 4 of those infantry were impact foot Armies, so I think you're going to be struggling. I might be wrong, you know. Let's keep an eye. Let's keep an eye on this army. Good old Ghurids. Let's see how they do. I mean, my rating. Am I going to give it a really low rate? I just feel so limited by them. I think I'm going to give them a C. I'm just looking everywhere I look. I'd like better infantry. Some of the cav units I want, they're not there. Better end lancers are not there. The cheapest lancers are not there. Have to take all this irregular foot. The cheap end light horse archers are not there. So I don't know. I'm going to give it a C. Let's see how they do. Let's see how they do. I wonder if Devon Coppers has put them down as one of his selections. He might end up playing with this army, and he could prove us all wrong. Maybe he'll do great with it. But let's see. Let's see. I'm going to give that's my lowest grade, I think, in all my videos. A C. But it was fun. It was fun because I realized the kind of units that I like. You know, I want a little bit extra, even if it's 1 or 2 better quality infantry units, just to hold everything together. I need it and I want it. You know, if possible, a whole load of the cheaper end skirmishers, although a lot of the new armies don't have them. But you know, if you can have 4 or 5, that's a plus. And you know, more of these light horse archers. I don't want to be limited. So there we are. That is what it is. It's a C. I'll keep my eyes open and you know, let's see if I'm proved wrong. Thanks for watching and see you soon.